All right, little ones, gather round. There. Now, I am Aziel, a storyteller of sorts from a world far different than your own. And boy, do I have some stories to tell. Nothing like a good stretch. Now, where were we? Yes. You see, I come from a world called Ithorian, and where your Earth is a wasteland of stone structures and black roads as far as the eye can see, ruled by these strange, fleshy creatures who can't stop bickering about whose gentleman's sausage is bigger. Ithorian is lush and green, covered with rolling hills and beautiful forests. A place where form and fur pattern could be as varied as the fabrics you hairless things so shamefully cover yourselves in. You know, I've always wondered why people would cover their natural beauty, but I digress. It is a world where kindness is tempered by cruelty, and where love is not always as simple as it seems. But then again, what would you expect from a place where a little harmless creature like me could wield the power of a god? A place where children can be born with such powerful magic that their very existence could threaten the lives of millions, if they're not taught the proper discipline, of course. A place where mortals walk side by side with the divine, equal to them in form and occasionally rival to them in strength. Now, I could go on and on about my world, but then where would we be? I would be a storyteller rambling, and you, well, I'm fairly certain all of you out there would be bored to tears, and I can't have that, now can I? What kind of storyteller would I be? So, let's start at the beginning, shall we? With one of the oldest stories in my world, the tale of two siblings. Now, we all accept as a truth of the world that everything has to come from somewhere, right? Well, what if I told you that before either of our worlds existed, there was nothing, absolutely nothing, and then fate intervened, and from that nothing, two children emerged, two beings as innocent as innocence itself, and entirely unaware of what their existence would mean for the rest of us. Now, this is understandably before these two had names, because you see, while we might be their creations, we're the ones who named them. They were polar opposites in every way. A boy with fur as black as the abyss, and eyes the color of embers, and a little girl with fur as white as newly fallen snow, and eyes of vivid purple. We know these children now as the gods, Rage and Lasarna, but back then, they knew each other only as siblings. Lasarna was a gifted child, able to comprehend the beauty of creation. She pulled from the endless nothing that surrounded them and fashioned stars, little specks of light in the darkness that she would chase around like a child chasing fireflies on a summer evening. Her brother Rage, however, was a different story. You see, he reveled in destruction. Occasionally he would catch one of his sister's creations and play with it, delighting in what he would do to it, watching its light fade away until it flickered out forever. So on and on it went like this for eons, with one working tirelessly to create, while the other simply destroyed. Until one day Lasarna had had enough, and she scolded her brother. How dare he? what gave him the right to destroy her precious creations. And so, in her anger, she decided to set out on her own. She decided to explore further into the void than her and her brother had ever been, to find a place where her creations would be safe. She had abandoned her brother to the silence of the void, and while now she was free to create to her heart's content, something was wrong. Something was missing. For where once she had enjoyed the sound of her brother's laughter, she too now found the silence to be far too deafening. Eventually the two siblings found each other again and made amends. Lasarna even offered her brother a few of the stars she had made while she was away. And while most of them may have wound up broken, he kept a hold of two to serve as eternal reminders of just how lonely his world had been without his sister's light to balance his darkness. From then on, the two of them were inseparable, and while they would bicker and fight occasionally like all siblings do, neither was willing to abandon the other again. That, little ones, was the tale of two siblings, and sadly for now I must bid thee farewell. However, before I depart, I want to give you a choice. When next we meet, would you like to hear the story of a man whose honor and courage changed my world forever? Or would you rather hear the tale of a clever street rat whose predilections and swift tongue landed him squarely in the world of nobility and intrigue? Decide amongst yourselves which you would prefer, and when next we meet, I'll have another interesting tale for you. But for now, goodbye, little one.